Excuse me, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another episode of Software Explorations. We are going to continue going through Terraform today. It's like every single time I start a live, this car outside has to start up their car. It's like they're watching and they just want to annoy the hell out of me. Jeez, hold on one second. All right, they're gone. But you know what? I don't like the background color because let's get something more in line with the color of our hat. You know what? We are in for blood today with Terraform because I was not happy at how we ended it last week. I want to get back into it, figure out these VPCs. But if you do not know who I am Tech Coach Ralph. And let me get this up for you so you can never forget Tech Coach Ralph. We are engineered to win here. All we do is win, all right? So we might not figure it out at this exact moment, but we will continue at it until we get it, all right? So what we are going to do, we are going to get into our agenda real quick, and then we're going to get started with the show. We are not going to spend a lot of time because this weekend has been extremely, extremely busy working on a multitude of projects. Me and Don have been working endlessly to work on this idea that we had, and you know, it's very interesting the things that you can come up with, and I'll get into that a little bit, right? But let's go and get started with our agenda. Get that out of the way. So first and foremost, as always, I would like to say thank you to all of the newest subscribers. It's amazing what's going on over here. So just to let all the new subscribers know,
I appreciate you.
You guys are amazing, and I'm getting comments from you guys, and I'm just trying to add more and more value, more people reaching out to me, so it's great. All right, and I wanted to say, as always, salute to the tech barbarians who are putting in the work. There are so many things that you could be doing, but this Sunday night, tonight, we are going to have our Scrum Night as we continue along through our project, you know, helping gain that experience that you so desperately need. And if you are new here, right? Or maybe you're not new here, but you enjoy the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live, like the video, share the video, and for everyone, check out the Patreon, see the things, see the content that I'm putting in there. You know, it's just a little bit of extra stuff that I go a little bit deeper than I do on YouTube just to help you be prepared for your interviews, how to get your resumes right, different ideas. You have ability to contact me one-on-one, so many things, right? So definitely check out the Patreon. Don't hesitate. All right, so let's get into our live show schedule real quick. We have our morning show, Coffee and Kata, where we have a cup of coffee and we do a coding challenge. And we take a look at some news articles. We usually do a lot more coding than we do coffee, but you know, we are all in for it, right? So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Coffee and Kata. It's at 7:15 a.m. Eastern time. However, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be doing it at 6:15 a.m. Eastern time. Why is that, Tech Coach Ralph? Why are you doing it so damn early in the morning? Well, if you must ask, I plan on jumping on the morning show of Tech Niche Tips tomorrow morning, where we are going to be talking about resumes and networking. Which one is better, having the right resume or being a power networker? So let's talk about it, right? So I'm going to jump on around maybe around 7:15ish. I don't know. Whenever they're ready for me to come on. So we are going to do our show because guess what? We don't miss.
I mean, you know, all we do is win, man. You know that.
We don't miss, right? So we are going to take care of our business, and then we are going to go over and talk some career stuff, talk some resume stuff. I've been talking about resumes for a very, very long time, giving you guys strategies, how to get yourself recognized, all right? So that's the plan for tomorrow. Just wanted to get it out there. So if you are awake at 7 for the morning show, if you're awake up at 6, join me at 6:15. We're going to go through that, and then go ahead and join me and Tech Niche Tips at 7 o'clock a.m. and we are going to talk. So, we're going to have a good time. All right. So Sunday afternoons, we have software explorations. Like today, we are going through Terraform some more. It's a course and we're just going through each step of the way, right? I'm looking forward to getting done with the VPCs at some point so that we can get into the next step. It's interesting because in learning Terraform, we're also getting a lot more familiar with AWS, right? Because I knew what VPCs were, but I didn't really know much about them. But these past 2 to 3 weeks, I've learned so much more about VPCs, how to configure them, the subnets, the all that stuff, right? And we'll see it once we log into to AWS. So that is Sunday afternoons going through Terraform. We start at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. And then we have Tuesday afternoons. We have our Q&A session. So I already scheduled it for this Tuesday. We're going to have our Q&A session where you can either call in and ask your questions. You can ask questions in the chat, or I can find questions that I have sourced around the web and, give insight on that, because maybe you don't even know what your question is. All right. So that's the goal. And then we have Thursday nights. We have more software exploration because we can't get enough of exploring the software. So so Thursday nights we have software explorations. Last Thursday we started going down the rabbit hole of Amazon Q, Amazon's newest chatbot for business, generative AI for business, right? So we are going to, I think this Thursday we're going to continue with that. I have to see because I had some issues with the configuration because I don't have the proper infrastructure of like a organization to have it. So I'm still working on getting my setup correct so it can meet the criteria to work with Amazon Q so we can continue sampling it out. But what we read on that stream, that it is super, super cool. So, and I'll get into that a little bit in the pre-recorded content schedule, right? So one more time, let's get that rundown. The morning show, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m. Eastern time, where we do coffee and kata. I have a cup of coffee with you and we do some coding challenges. But like I said, tomorrow morning, it's going to start at 6:15 a.m. Eastern time. So we can jump over to Tech Niche Tips channel and talk about resumes and networking. And Sunday afternoons, software explorations going through Terraform at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions. And by the way, Tuesday nights, next week Tuesday, not this Tuesday, next week Tuesday, Socks and I are going to be going live with our second edition, the December edition of Cybersecurity Night. All right. So we're going to be answering questions, cybersecurity Q&A, and then Thursday nights, software explorations. All right. So, and now let's jump over to our pre-recorded content. And just take a quick breath, right? This is a lot of content that's being put out. And I just try to put something out there for everyone. Because maybe you need more of the mindset shift that we have through our candid conversations. Maybe you need some of the concepts and the overviews that we have through software explorations, which can guide you and get you into a particular area. Or maybe you like to enjoy the bug stories and see, okay, what type of vulnerabilities out there and study up on that. So with that being said, Mondays, we have candid conversations. This coming Monday, I'm going to be talking about the topic of choosing, like, you need a mentor, and how we all have mentors, but did you make the right choice in your mentor? So we're going to be talking about that. Wednesdays, we have software explorations, concept and overviews this coming Wednesday. Because that we are trying to configure Amazon Q during last Thursday's live, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give an overview on what we know so far about Amazon Q, what the capabilities are, what I find challenging with it so far, and the different ways to, like, how to integrate it. We're not going to go into the details of how to integrate it, but we're going to speak about how you integrate it into your company, and just go over some details, right? So we're just going to do an overview on Amazon Q, Amazon's newly released generated data breach, which leaked millions of user data. All right. So that is the pre-recorded schedule. And then throughout the week, we have some shorts sometimes, but we have on Mondays through Fridays, we have a clip from the Tuesday night Q&A show where we are just, condensing the questions into bite-sized pieces so that you can get direct answers to the questions and you don't have to go and sit through a whole 2-hour live stream. Although if you do, there's tons of information that you will find, and it's very entertaining as well. But if you just need a quick information, it's like index and stuff like that. So check out those and enjoy. So with everything I just named, right, whether it's a live stream or it is the pre-recorded content, anytime you have a question, drop me a comment, or if you want to share your thoughts, drop me a comment. I would love to hear it. I would love to interact. I respond back to all comments. All right. So that is our pre-recorded content. All right. So shout out to the pre-recorded content. Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Concept and Overviews. Fridays, the Bug Bite. And throughout the week, we have clips from our Q&A show. I feel with all of those announcements, right, it's like the show's over because it's so much that's going on. How can you handle it all? But we are here, right? And we put in the work every single day. We do not miss. All right. So next announcements, I already hinted towards it. Cybersecurity Q&A night, Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, with my good friend Nico Socks, who will be talking more about the upcoming release of Socks University. And I'm pretty sure that the registration for it will be open at that point, but we'll see, right? We shall see. But yes, we have Cybersecurity Night on Tuesday, December 12th, 2023 with Socks. All right. So tune in for that, 8 p.m. Eastern time. But you know how I like to do here. We like to party. We will get started a little bit earlier to kick off the night. All right. So you can either watch on my stream or you can watch on Socks' channel, wherever you want. Just come and learn. All right. Come and have some fun. Come and get your questions answered. All that good stuff. All right. So the next topic is Chaos Camp challenges. We are going to continue that tomorrow. Continue going through the rock, paper, scissors challenge. Dawn has approved my pull request. So we are going to go merge into production or into the main branch. But the thing I was thinking about is that if these are challenges, how can I merge into the main branch? Because then it's going to be a completed challenge and then you won't be challenged anymore, right? Although it'll still have the test cases and stuff like that you can write. But I don't know. Maybe after all that is done, we just reset it to the beginning, and then now you have to go and solve that entire challenge all on your own. But I would highly encourage you to go to the Chaos Camp GitHub, and try out a challenge, push yourself further, because I'll tell you this, right? Don and I, since maybe Thursday or Wednesday, we've been working on some AI type applications and stuff. And then like it started coming together on Friday, and like we were up working, right? We were up working, and it's important. Like, it's amazing to me how two individuals can push forward so much work in such a short amount of time. when sometimes like you have a group of people who it's like things are moving slower than molasses, right? So I would say every single day, put in the work, because the goal is to get better every single day, right? So shout out to Don, shout out for all the work that we're putting in, which we will be probably debuting maybe this week, maybe early, maybe next weekend. I don't know. We're working on an MVP, so getting into beta. So that's where we're going, all right? So shout out to Don at Chaos Camp. Shout out to Socks, who's going to be joining me for cybersecurity Q&A night, all right? So amazing announcements. All right, so the next thing I want to do is have a little chat with you about communication. We're not gonna stay. We're not gonna be here on the stream for super long because I still have a lot of things to do. Like I mentioned earlier, I have Scrum Night that I need to prepare for the Tech Barbarians because they are going through the process of gaining experience, real work experience. So, because my goal is right when I'm coaching, I have one goal. What is my one goal? To get you ready for the work environment. You might have your education from Udemy, you might have your education from a boot camp, but there is something that is severely, I'm going to repeat that, severely lacking in these educational methods, right? Whether it's the boot camp or whether it is through Udemy, is they don't prepare you for practical real world experience. You don't have any real no practical knowledge, right? Like you do a few projects here and there, but how do you handle working on a team, right? How do you handle conflict on a team? How do you handle achieving the common goal, right? So that's what I focus on in my coaching. I'm not trying to teach you how to code or something like that, which I have no problem jumping on a call with you if I'm coaching you and helping you and getting you unblocked. But my greatest goal is for you to be prepared to work. And it's not only necessary to work in a company, right? I want you to be like, here's the example with what I'm saying, right? Don and I were working on this application, right? And what was the first thing that I did? I used the principles of Agile and of Scrum, although actually we did Kanban, but I went ahead and I created a board, created a bunch of stories on the backlog, and started putting them on the board what I was working on so he can have insight, he could know, and move him along the board and all that stuff, right? So and my goal is to train my tech barbarians so that they can be prepared, because I don't want you to go in there and you're looking like a deer in headlights because you were not prepared. Your boot camp didn't prepare you. Your Udemy course didn't prepare you. Your Coursera didn't prepare you. You know how to do the actual work with it, which the actual work might be like 20% of it, which leads us into the topic is about communication, right? Communication is essential. It used to be that developers would go into, or people would go into development because they were like introverts and stuff like that. They just wanted to work in code. I used to think like that, right? But through the years, what I have seen is that the ones who are able to continue to progress, right? They have great communication skills. And you know what? I'm going to take that back. It doesn't necessarily have to be great, but it's good, right? They understand what their stakeholders are looking for and they're able to provide that value. All right. It's so let me focus in even more directly in what I'm saying, right? As tech people, because we have so much knowledge, so much information, we have the tendency of, when we are asked a question, we start to go into all the details about the question. And if we do, then we answer the question. But by the time we have lost and disengaged our audience, right? And that is the worst mistake that we can actually make when we're communicating. My strategy, right, is to always, within the first 10 to 30 seconds, right, answer the question that's being asked And then I can go into context and details and stuff like that if necessary, right? Because sometimes, and this is what I see a lot of times, right? I ask a binary question, it might be yes or no, right? Or a multiple choice, so you choose one of these, right? And I get so much, so many words, right? It's like, oh my goodness, like, and I'm just waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and I'm so disengaged by that point. And then I'm like, and then I have to go back, and whether it's through writing or through speaking, and I have to go back. I'm like, wait, did they actually answer the question that I was asking? And then I have to like, okay, so what's the answer to the question, right? And I think that you shoot yourself in the foot when you do that, right? In Agile and in Scrum, right? There are meetings, right? They're called ceremonies, but one of them is the sprint review, where you are presenting the work that you completed and that you to the stakeholders, right? And a lot of times where we as tech people, we as developers always have to be reminded that we're not here to share the implementation details of like how everything happened in the kitchen. We're just here to present the dish to our stakeholders, which shows them like what is it that we added to this product or this application, how to use it, not how it was built, because a lot of times these stakeholders might not be that technical, and then you lose them. So I try to apply that same idea and that same knowledge to whoever it is that I'm talking to, because I'm like, all right, let me give you the information that you're asking for first, and then if we need to go into more details, into technical details, then we can do that, right? But I always like to get the question that you're asking answered first. If you ask me an open-ended question, I'm going to answer it in the sense of giving you the most valuable information first, and then we can have a conversation about like any additional details or questions that you might have. But I like to get like my style of communication is I just hate to I personally don't like to waste people's time, and I can't stand when people waste my time. Like, and that's why one of the quotes that I came up with the other day, like this is for me, is respect your time and don't let anyone else disrespect your time, right? Because your time is valuable, right? And if you don't think your time is valuable, then you should make it valuable, right? You should continue to learn more, whether it is in the technical aspect, whether it's in interpersonal skills, whether it's in communication, right? Because you need to master that, right? Because your technical skills will only take you so far, but if you can't communicate what you're doing effectively, then it's going to hold you back, right? There's sometimes that like you might have a great idea, right? But then you go on and on and on about the technical implementation of it, and the people are just wondering like, okay, what is this thing that you're trying to do? But you never actually answered that, right? So I was in a call yesterday, and I was saying that consider the story writing methods of Agile, right? Who is the user or the person that the problem is trying to be solved for, right? Then what do we need to do to solve the problem, and why, right? If you can deliver it that way immediately, right? Then the person knows exactly what you're talking about, and then they might say, okay, let me know some more details. How do you plan to accomplish this, all that, and then you can go on and on and on and on. I would advise you probably don't go on and on and on, but at least you're letting the people know what it is that you are actually delivering, and they're not left wondering, like, with lost with no idea, right? The worst thing you can do is lose your audience. So I'll probably get into that a little bit more on Academic Conversations probably, but I just wanted to start the topic off here. Let me know what you think in the chat. Let me know what you think in the comments about that. But that's how I see it, right? We need to do a much better job at communication. And I'll tell you this, right? It takes time. I used to be and sometimes a lot, right? I used to be a terrible communicator. I do think doing speaking on YouTube has helped a lot, because I'm able to slow things down. I also do think that jujitsu, believe it or not, has helped a lot because it slows down my mind and I'm able to see things and pivot and things like that, right? So just being able to share, like I remember like probably my first video, I was like all over the place, and maybe sometimes I'm still all over the place now, but at least I can communicate effectively all over the place. Or not, I don't know. But let me know what you think. I am curious to hear your thoughts on the topic. And we are going to go and move on to our next steps of the show. Like I said, we are not going to be here for a long time, right? I really want to get through the VPC stuff, hopefully. But I didn't even look into the next part of the course because I'm like, it might take us some time to do the VPC. And I've been working on a bunch of other stuff this weekend. So, just trying to get everything situated. All right. So that is the plan. Thank you for listening to that. And, let's continue to get our communication skills and get our technical skills leveled up. And you can do that by checking out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. But with that being said, we are going to move on. But first, if you have not done so, if you found what I've told you so far, right, valuable, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. Like the video, share the video with everyone you can think of because this information is for everyone. There is something for everyone because we are not the type of channel that's going to be going into like no crazy mess and stuff like that. We like to stay on focus. We like to level up. We like to make ourselves better. And once we can make ourselves better, we can make our technical skills better. So that's why on Mondays I start off with the candid conversations, and then we go and we work, get your questions answered, and then we just go into the work, right? We focus into our work because when we have that for me at least, I don't know about you, but for me, that is my escape. When people tell me, oh, you should take a break and stuff like that. I mean, the stuff that I'm doing here, like when I'm thinking so hard about how to bring more value, how to do this in AWS, all that, to me, that is my escape, right? Because there's a lot of other things in the world that's going on, but when you can focus on the things that really bring value into your life, right? That is like, my work is my escape, all right? All right, so we are about to get started. So let's get, you know what we need.
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
All right, so I got my bottle of water today. I actually got to take a little nap before we got started. And we are going to put our timer up. And I'll tell you this, right? So I can start this clock with this because this is related to Terraform.
It's time to do.
I can't stress to you enough how important it is for you to work on technical projects, right? What you're learning in your, like, you guys, like, I don't know if I can say this enough, right? What you're learning in, whether it is a boot camp or whether it's a course, it could be Udemy, it could be Coursera, it could be whatever it is, right? It doesn't really matter where you're getting the education from. It is essential that you create your own projects out of that, because when people are just studying to get some type of certification and stuff like that, all you become is, I always say, it's a theorist, right? What are you doing to get the practical understanding, right? The practical implementation. So why am I saying this as the time is running, right? Because in the project that we're working on, right, one of the tasks that I put on one of the stories was, all right, we are going to Terraform this application so that we can just run the Terraform script. I'm going to do my very best. Well, I kind of messed up on that, right? But because we haven't gotten to the ECR, right? The Docker registry on AWS for Terraform. So I did that part manually, but I'm going to do the VPC stuff, not the VPC, the EC2 instance, get that started with the script to start the application. I'm going to do that through Terraform, because why would I not do it through Terraform if we've been spending the past how many weeks, right? More than 2 months we've been spending on Terraform, right? So why would I not do it through Terraform? So today I started trying to do it through Terraform, and I'm like, all right, how do I do this? How do I do that? Make this a modification, make this adjustment. Oh, I need to do a Docker pull instead of getting the Git repo. So, and this is what I mean by like finding practical applications to the stuff that you're learning, because that is what's going to further your thinking forward. Because then I'm like, okay, I need this, I need that, and like that right there, we're creating a real application, but as well as getting experience in different tools like Uvicorn from Python with the Fast API. We are getting experience with building Docker images. We're getting experience with pushing it to a private repository. We're getting experience with setting up Terraform, all that stuff, right? So the idea is that you need to do whatever it takes to get more experience, so that not only you know how to navigate your way around this, because now you get all these certificates, but you never actually use the software. And then you go to an interview and they're asking you, okay, so how do you like what is this? Like how would you approach doing this, right? And or they ask you to show them and you're fumbling and bumbling all over the place. You just wasted all your money on these certificates, on these courses, because you did not actually try it, right? So whatever it is that you're learning, find ways to practically implement it so you can get the experience that you need. Create a Jira board where you can actually like practice your Scrum and your Kanban, so you can actually move things across. Like it is essential that you do that. Like I can't stress that enough, right? So, anyways, just saying, I'm just trying to drill that into your head that you need to build your portfolio where you can have talking points for your interviews. Because imagine if I was to go on an interview, right? Which I'm not, don't worry. But imagine if I was to go on an interview and I'm like, oh yeah, and as a QA engineer, I know how to do this in Terraform. I've done this, I've done that. Oh yeah, I can do this in Docker. I've created ECR instances. I've pushed them to, or I've created Docker images and I pushed them up to the private repo in Amazon, and probably do it other places as well. But like I'm well versed in that. It's like, oh wow, like this person is very, very talented, and that's like so many different. It's so many different avenues that you can take, right? But anyways, let's get into our. We're gonna go to the AWS console. All right. All right. So we are already in AWS. I am going to go to EC2. I actually want to go to our VPCs, but I think you get that through EC2. Or no, let me see. We have no instances running. But what we did last time was we were comparing our instances to we're comparing our VPCs. Virtual. So our VPC, should bookmark that. And we had two. We had one that we created through Terraform, and we had one that we created manually. So this was the manual one, and I think we tore it down last week. This is the default one. So what we can do, I should have did this before I started that long rant, but so I do think though the issue that we had was like right here, right? I think all of this stuff was connected, but then we got here and the bond was broken. So we need to figure out how to make that bond. And I think, you know what? Let me see. Let's see what we have going on over here. Let me close that out. So here we have our Terraform code. So this is from last week. We have our internet gateway. We have our subnets. And we have, so here we're creating the VPC. We have the Terraform VPC. That's the name of it. And we have our CIDR block, which you still need to do some more learning on this. And then we say this resource, AWS subnet, its VPC is this VPC right here, whatever ID gets assigned to it, that's going to be the VPC ID for our subnet, right? And then we have, so this is the CIDR block for that within this. And then we have our AWS Internet Gateway, right? So if we look over here, so route table. So we don't create a route table. So I think it creates that for you, but we need to be able to link. We need to be able to link. So let's see what options we have under this, right? So if we go here, let's see, we do VPC ID. All right. Is there anything else that, I guess we'll need provider, because provider would be the other thing. So if we have this, so we have everything with the VPC ID, right? So I say we should try to run it. Let's see, we have a security group. Our security group. So we can try to run it, right? So then it should start up our EC2 instance and it should be able to connect and do all of this and start up the rock, paper, scissors challenge, right? So let's do a Terraform plan. Access denied. What's going on here? Let's see. All right, hold on. Let's see what's going on here. Access denied. Why is that? All right, let's go into EC2. Let's find out what's going on here. It's annoying. Might be our credentials, maybe. Let's see, 2 users. It's not this one. I don't think it should be. It's under policies. So there goes that. Oh, you know what? You know what I believe? I kind of remember now. We had, let me see. Didn't we have a user named Terraform or something like that? I'm trying to remember. Group name, admin. There we go. We have a user named Terraform. And I think I think that's why this was probably not working this morning when I was trying to terraform the other project, because we need to create a user on our project called Terraform. But that's cool. So we go into Terraform here. But all right. So let me go and look at these security credentials. So I'm not sure why it's saying that unable to list objects in S3 bucket. List error. So actually this looks okay. So, and this is a good example of IAM roles, right? Because I was just gonna like do something, but what it looks like is for some reason that role is not able to list the objects in the S3 bucket. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to go and check the roles or so let's go here. So let's see what's going on here. So it unable to list S3 bucket Terraform. So let's look for S3 maybe. Let me see. Let's go to policies. List object S3. So let's see S3 full access. S3. And while we're there, we're also gonna check what's in S3. Make sure the S3 thing is still there, because you can't find the state file. S3. So let's make sure our state file is there. And there goes that. So that's good. So we're able to see it here. So something with the permission change all of a sudden. So let's get our permission back. So it's not, so when it's 403, right? It's not, a 401 is not authorized. A 403 is that you do not have permission, right? So let's figure out why. So we're going back to our IAM roles and list object v2. So let's do and let's do S3. What is this action for? All right. Remove that, add new statement. And we are going to be looking for wonder if the Terraform work from this morning messed this up. Let me see. I don't think this is it. Let me see something. Continue. Access. Let's see. So create a policy. S3 list. And we want list objects. Don't see list objects. But let's just do all of them for now, right? Because if this works, then we can see what permissions that we don't need. But imagine if we're able to just do imagine if we're just able to do all this through Terraform at some point, right? Oh, object. Let's just do this for now. I'm going to click on this object, right? Just so we can test this, and then we can always update this later. But let's just get a little bit further. I don't want to waste too much time on this because this is not a IAM course or what we're working on, right? S3 access for Terraform. All right. It's funny. Someone was asking yesterday about the IAM engineering role, what the thoughts about it, which to me I think is pretty cool. There's a lot of configuration, especially if you can do it through Terraform. But all right, so we have a policy created. Now, so S3 access for Terraform. I would think it's already there, but whatever. S3 list. I don't know, but let's go ahead and assign it to our user. So we go here. It has S3 full access. I don't know. So trying to think if I change my settings at some point. All right, so now let's go to, I don't know, that's so weird. Let me try something real quick. No. Interesting. How to get it? All right, let me Google the error. Let's do that. So I would think that. All right, let's see what Stack Overflow has to say.
Lunch break! Lunch break!
Oh. Oh, okay. So it looks like something with the profile happened. So let me make sure that the profile exists in there. So it's not good. All right, let me add this. Oh, actually, I do have it. So let's do. Not showing my screen right now on purpose. Let's do. Let's see if that works. Hope I didn't mess this up. Let me see. Let me compare this real quick. Ah, I did mess it up. That's why. I changed the key by mistake to something else. So let's go ahead and fix that then. I'm not showing my screen on purpose because I'm messing with these AWS keys. But, all right. So if we... one sec, make sure. All right. Because before we go to break, I'll just go ahead and start it up and we'll see what happens. All right, so we are back over here. All right, so keys are updated. Let's see. I mix matched the keys that I was working on this morning because I guess I was super exhausted at 3 o'clock in the morning. But let's see, Terraform plan. Let's see, Terraform in it. Darn it. All right, whatever. Let's go to break. We'll figure this out on the way back. Okay. So that always something comes up, right? And we have my main man in the chat, Don. What's going on, Don?
I appreciate you.
How are you doing on this beautiful Sunday afternoon for you out there in Cali? Let's put 5 minutes up on the clock. All right. So always something comes up, right? It never fails. It never fails. But we're going to figure it out. We are going to get it working. And do what we have to do, you know? Yep, we're going to figure it out. So Don says it is too close to Monday for him. Every day is a Monday for me, Don. You know, every day is a Monday because we keep working. We just keep working. Oh my goodness, Don has a PR for me. And I'm about to open a PR as well. I got it up in, I got it Dockerized and everything, and the favicon actually showed up. So was trying to get it pushed to, we're trying to get it started on AWS, but we'll figure that out. Anyways, not gonna share all that personal information with you guys, but how are you guys doing this Sunday? Are you guys ready to get back to it on tomorrow? Are you ready to get back to it tomorrow? Tons of stuff going on, a lot of moving pieces, and guess what? We are in December. Today is December 3rd, 2023, right? That means we have 28, actually maybe 27, because this day is pretty much over already, right? Well, not for me. I'll be up for a while doing tons and tons of other stuff, right? But we have 27 days in December left, right? What are you guys doing this December? Are you traveling? Are you going to be working? Applying for jobs, maybe? What is up? I'm going to be streaming just about every day. Going to be working on these projects, going to be coaching people, going to be getting ready for the new year. Because what are we going to be doing next year? Well, we're going to be doing the exact same thing, but we're going to do it even better. All right. But let's not waste any more time, right? We are going to, let's just jump right back into it, right? Because all we do here is win. All we do is work. All right. So, Don said, before we get back to work, Don said we took the red pill this year? Well, Don, I think you took the red pill a long time ago when you rejected, yes, when you rejected to be one of the ISTQBers. All right. So I don't know. You tell me, Don, what do you think? What do you think? So let's see. Let's get to it. And I'll be checking the chat as we go along so we can see whatever Don has to say. And whoever else is here, feel free to tap in with us and let's get to it. All right. So let's go to this screen because this is really annoying. All right. So, and we'll reset the clock.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right. So, failed to get existing workspaces, unable to list S3 objects in Terraform, but all right. Let me just put it on this screen for now. And let me take a look at this file. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. All right. Let me see. Let's look for this one. So this is like that. So this is correct. I'm confused here. All right. Let me see here. What is going on? I have to just redo my whole credentials again. Jeez. What happened? All right. Let's see. 925. Okay. Let me see. Let's see. Just trying to make sure I'm using the right things here because credentials are super important apparently, right? So we have this current 1112. What am I looking at here? Let me see. 1112. Oh, that's what I had before, I believe. Let me see. I don't know. This is driving me crazy over here. I'm not sure what's going on. If we go here, and if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna reset the whole thing. But this is part of learning about like we are learning a little bit about everything doing this stuff because it is crazy. Make any sense? Let's just let's see. Let's see. Do a little bit more. And let's see. All right, let me check something else out. All right, let's go to here. And we're going to switch screens here. And I'm going to go here. Check some keys. What do you got on the keys? Let's see. So here. Oh, I didn't change that. All right, so things really. All right, I'm just gonna redo the keys because I don't know what happened to my keys. This was working just fine last week. All of a sudden, no access. But I'm able to authenticate. All right, let's go and look at. Let's look at right. So tags. I don't know. Let's see. So weird. So if we do, all right. So we were looking at here then, right? Before we just reset everything. If we were looking at, let's try what they said here, right? Validating, validating provider credentials, retrieving caller identity from STS. Operation error, get caller identity, 403. API signature doesn't match. All right, so so one of these don't matter. So let's fix that. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, so this one is incorrect. So we're gonna try it with this one. So let's go here. And we're gonna do export profile. Here for a minute. All right, we're back. We are back. Jesus Christ. That was highly annoying. Not even sure what happened there, but let's go and check out our Terraform plan. So now we're going to start our VPC so we can see what is going to happen. So what we added was going back to where we started, right? We added this VPC ID to the AWS Internet Gateway, which if we look over here, network connections. So this is the one that we had created last time. Internet gateway, right? If we click over here, it's going to take us to the internet gateway configuration. And in here, it had the VPC attached to it, right? So our goal is that by adding the VPC ID here, that over here, oh, not there, your VPCs, that over here, it will do this little connection, that little connection thingy over here, right? So that is the goal. Let's go over and let's run our So what I think I need to do then is create a profile. Yeah, I got to create a profile for the Terraform user. So I have to create a, so let me get this, then I'll talk to you about the other project, what I need to do to get Terraform to work. No, Terraform apply. And this is like, so as this is going, right? This is part of the learning curves in whatever you're doing, because I'm pretty good with HTML. Although Don is laughing at me saying that my HTML is from 1993. Thank you very much. But I'm good with CSS, HTML. I can put JavaScript stuff together. But then when it comes to the infrastructure, I could have easily went into AWS and created the EC2 instance, right? And I could have done like spend half an hour to go and install all the stuff for Docker, and then build it from there, which it would have worked. But like, we need to practice what we're learning. So now I can give a story where I'm saying, oh yeah, I built this application, but not only did I build this application, well, Don and I built the application, but for the context of the story, I built this application, but I used Terraform to set up my infrastructure, right? And you can look, and I can show you some of the stories that I have in our backlog. Oh, you created a backlog? Yeah, that's part of that's part of my portfolio, right? The Jira boards that we use, right? That's part of my portfolio of all the stuff that I've done. And so then, for example, when I created that bug for the rock paper scissors challenge, right? That's part of my portfolio. Every single thing you do is part of your portfolio, right? And then you actually list that, like you find a way to put them on your resume, because at least with me, if something's on your resume that stands out to me, I'm going to ask you about it when I'm interviewing, right? And that gives you the opportunity that you need so that you can start talking your talk about why you're so cool, why you're so awesome, and why you would be a valuable asset to the valuable asset to the organization, right? Everything I do, it's with a mission in mind. It's with a goal in mind, right? And that's what I'm trying to have you understand. Like, as you see this Terraform stuff going, IAM, like identity and access management, is so far away from software QA, right? I don't even know if there is testing for that realm, right? But you saw we had some issues, and then we figured out what the problem was with our credentials, and we fixed that. And so what I ultimately had to do was go into my credentials file, add a profile for the Terraform user, and then add its credentials, because I think this morning when I was trying to use a different set of credentials in Terraform, that in a different project, I think that it kind of like mess some stuff up, right? So Don says AWS Fargate, great for Docker as well. Are you doing text to speech, Don? Because Fargate, I'm not sure if you're trying to say Fartgate or I don't know. Let me know, Don. Let me know. What is this word you're trying to say here? Fargate. But yeah, so it's all about, like, if you don't take anything, like let's say you don't take any Terraform stuff away from this, right? I want you to take away, you have to practice, right? And then after you know how to put this stuff together, then you need to be able to explain it in a way that's easily digestible. You know? It's super, super important. While this is running, let's go over to our VPC so we can see things in action, right? So let's see what's going on here. So we should see our VPC showing up soon. There we go. There goes our VPC. Because in the, oh, so Fargate is actually a thing. My bad. So it already created our subnet and our internet gateway, security group, all that, right? So let's go ahead and take a look. Oops, right there. So look at that. Let's see, click on this. You see, it didn't do the linking. If I click on this, does it have the VPC assigned to it at least? It does have the VPC, but it doesn't link. So I am curious to see. I don't think it's going to work, right? Because if we're looking over here, we have our, it's still trying to provision the file, but it can't get to it. And it's going to probably eventually time out. So we need to search for how do we connect the internet gateway to the routing table. So if we click on this one, action. So it's attached to the VPC, right? See, so this is, it has the same timeout, right? So, and I think, what I think is, which I could be wrong, right? But I think that when we look over here, that link right there is not the same. So if we compare it to the other one that we created manually, the only difference I can see is 2 routes, including local, and it goes here. Let's see if our other one has 2 routes, including local. No, oh, it has 1 route, including local. So 1 route, including local, and the one that we created manually has 2. So let's investigate that real quick to see why that is. So main route table. Click on that. Let's click on route table ID. So I think we would need to create, so it probably only has this one, I'm guessing, right? And okay, so yeah, so we need to, so this one is our internet gateway here. So we need to make a route table that targets that internet gateway. So let's get to it, why don't we? Let's do Terraform destroy to tear everything down. One of the next things that we're going to look into is how do we add to an existing infrastructure without having to tear everything down and bring it back up, right? But let's see if we do resource route. I don't see route table. Let me see something. Oh, so I spelled resource wrong. Jesus Christ. Routing. Route table. Okay, so we have a AWS route table. Let's add that. And we're going to call it TCR, VPC, Terraform. And on the break, we'll check out the link that Don so eloquently humbled me with. RT. All right, and now we are going to say, we're going to say, so what is this called? It is called a What are these called in the route tables? See, routes maybe? Route? And inside of route, what do we have there? Network interface ID. I'm looking on the other screen. What it's called. Network interface. Let's
Lunch
see
break.
here.
Lunch break.
See if we can finish this real quick. So let's look at yours. So I'm over here. Not that one. I'm over here. Looking at your VPCs. We have our route table. Let me refresh this. Have our route table. Resource. Let's look at the resource map. We have our route table, right? We have 2 routes, including a local. Local gateway ID. Let's see if here we have to put subnet. So I feel like it's going to create the route first. Oh no, you can do, I don't know, it creates the route. So let's see if we can do, all right, so inside the route table, there are routes, right? So if we go here and we click here and we click here, and we have our routes, and we say destination target. And inside a route, we have let's see, carrier gateway ID, CIDR block. Is there a target maybe? Nope. Local gateway ID, NAT gateway ID. Enter network interface ID. VPC endpoint ID. What if we just do nope, not destination prefix, no. All right, I think we're gonna have to go to Google because all right, let's do that. Let's go to Google. We're gonna be searching for Terraform route AWS route table internet gateway. So that's what we want. We want the AWS route table with the internet gateway. Let's see. I mean, if you know how to do it in you know how to do it in the admin, like the AWS portal, then you know what you need to put in. You just have to figure it out in here. So route egress. Oh, egress only ID. I gotcha. I got you. So my question is, do we need this then? So all right, so let's go with that. So let's say we're gonna go here, and in route we're gonna go with we'll do this for the sake of it. All right, and then here we're gonna go with egress gateway ID and AWS. Huh. Okay, AWS Internet Gateway. And then the example would be TCR. Okay. And then ID. So I think that should do it for us, right? I think. I could be totally wrong, but oh, let's give it a tag as well. Name is TCR, VPC, Terraform, RT. We are actually in 11, or no, we are in 12/03/2023. Right? Probably some type of parameter we can do to update that. But let's go and try it again, and then we can go to break. Terraform apply. Oh, wait a second. We have, so we need a VPC. All right, cool. No problem. We have our VPC. No big deal. No big dealio. VPC ID equals, all right, perfect. So I think we've got everything we need. Let's go and do our apply again. And calculating, and yes, let's go. All right, let's go to break, and we will give ourselves 5 minutes. And so I'm going to check out the Fargate in a second, but I have my main man D in the chat saying, is this different from doing QA automation on AWS servers? Yes. So what we are doing with Terraform, because somebody had this question yesterday in a different Discord, right? They Terraform is set up to put your infrastructure together, right? And it's not only limited to AWS. We're using AWS because one, to me, I think that's the most popular one, and that's the one I've used the most. I've used Google Cloud Platform a few times, but not as much as I've used AWS. But it's used to set up the infrastructure. So what we did a few streams ago about Terraform was we used Terraform to set up our infrastructure to start up the Selenium grid that we could use to run our automated test, right? So the difference is that you have you're setting up your infrastructure to run your automated tests with Terraform, but you could also do it manually on like if you log into console. But if you have your script done, you can run it whenever you need to set up to throw up infrastructure and to tear it down and everything like that, as opposed to having to go and log into a EC2 instance, or logging into AWS in the first place, right? Then you have to log into an EC2 instance. Then you got to do this, you got to do that, all this different stuff, right? So Terraform helps you bypass all of that. So that is the goal for that, right? So great question, D, by the way. Always amazing question. You are going to be a superstar in this field. Watch. And I'm going to make sure you get there. So let's go to, so let's check out this AWS Fargate thing. Oh, Dawn, look at you with the fancy stuff. serverless compute. Serverless compute for containers. So 46. Let's watch it, right? Let's watch it together.
Containers let you package your code so it can run anywhere. Before, you had to provision and manage servers, often requiring complex infrastructure to run your containers.
That's
With
why I love Docker.
AWS Fargate, you can now run serverless containers, so you
What?
don't have to manage any servers. Fargate can quickly launch tens of thousands of containers and will seamlessly scale to meet your application's compute requirements. Live the Zen life and let Fargate take care of your containers so you can build powerful apps today. Learn more at aws.amazon.com/Fargate.
Well, that sounds very interesting. So AWS Fargate is a serverless pay-as-you-go compute engine that lets you focus on building applications without managing servers, moving tasks such as server management, resource allocation, and scaling to AWS does not only improve your operational posture, but also accelerates the process of going from idea to production in the cloud and lowers the total cost of ownership. So what you're telling me here, Don, is that we do not even need to use the EC2 instance. We can just start up the containers in AWS Fargate and it will be doing its thing. Might have to do a show on this then. So let's see how it works. AWS Fargate is compatible with both Amazon Elastic Container Service and Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service, ECS and EKS. Select any OCI compliant container image, define memory and compute resources, and run the container with serverless compute with multiple CPU architectures and operating system supported. You can enjoy the benefits. Okay, so let's see. Without Fargate, build your container. So this is God. So this is exactly what I was doing this morning. My life without Fargate. So you build your container image, right? Well, I did that. Define and deploy it to EC2 instances. So that's what I was working on, but I did get it into ECR, the registry, right?
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go.
No,
Come on. Get
this
a move
is
on.
important.
Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
This is important, and we're going to take a look at it, okay? So provision and manage compute and memory resources, isolate application in separate VMs, run and manage both application and infrastructure. Yep. Pay for EC2 instances. That's what we do not want to do. However, here comes Fargate. Build container image, define memory and compute resources required, run and manage applications, pay for requested compute resources when used, application isolation by design. All right, I'm going to end the show a little early today so I can go and mess with Fargate. All right, so we'll take a look at that. So, and Don says, you are completely and utterly correct. Shout out to Don for always dropping out this amazing information. And I wonder, right? Because like, you hear about like the AWS Solutions Architect certification and stuff like that. If, Don, tell me what you think about this, right? If someone goes and they take some type of course and then they pass the AWS Solutions Architect, right? And I'm talking to them, say, yeah, I'm building this application and I'm going to have it containerized and all this stuff, right? Would they be able to tell me what you just told me about, oh, check out AWS Fargate, right? Or would they even be able to tell me about this route here, right? Because you know how I always talk about practical application, but would this one, like, would they be able to offer me any of this, right? So that's what I'm wondering. All right, before we get back, D says, do you have any videos on doing QA tests on AWS? I do. Send me a message in the Patreon, D, because I know you're in there. send me a message, and I will get you those videos. They're on YouTube, right? But I want to make sure I have it. I want to make sure I remember. So send me a message in the page in the Patreon, and I will get you those videos. But we even did some of them with Terraform, where I took some existing tests that we did, and then we put it in Terraform, and then we ran it through there. But I have a few that I did through where because I have a video where I configured Docker in an AWS instance. So I show how to log into the instance like manually, not through Terraform, just like how to manually go and log into the instance. And then how to do the commands to install Docker. And what I'll do, actually, I will put the script to do that in the Patreon as well, so that you can have access to it. And that way you can look at it and follow that as a guide. And then I have some other videos where we are sending the traffic of like we're configuring what they call in Selenium the remote driver, because you have your Chrome driver, you have your Firefox driver, all of those, but you have the remote driver where you're able to run your test on the Selenium grid, wherever that Selenium grid may be, right? So we can run, like I have somewhere I'm using it through AWS Device Farm, which is really cool. But I've had the same test that I've ran on like Sauce Labs or Browser Stack. I can easily say, okay, just run in this location or run locally on a local Selenium grid, right? And that frees up your resources, whether you're doing it like in the cloud or even if you're doing it locally. Like you don't have like when you run the script, you don't have it popping up in the browser and then like it's messing with you and stuff like that, right? So so it's I'll definitely send that to you. Reach out to me on the Patreon. So just send me a quick note, a quick message, and I'll make sure I get that back to you. And then I'll probably like just post those resources as well, because it's very, very important. And I think definitely running in AWS or wherever you're running it, right? Just as long as you don't have to run it locally, I think that's super, super important as well. Like I run locally for troubleshooting, but I run in whatever cloud environment as much as I can, right? So we have Wasted Madden, right? Shout out to you. I don't think I've ever spoken to you, Wasted Madden. Shout out to you. Says, sir, can you give this Terraform class notes? I could probably put something together. What notes in particular are you looking for? What I can also do is I can push the GitHub. Push it to GitHub, right? Where you can see the configurations that I'm doing. But yeah, let me know what notes in particular you would like, because like we're just exploring, we're just going through it. This is actually I'm following loosely the guide of a Udemy course, right? I'm loosely following the guide of a Udemy course, right? And I'm adapting it, which I always recommend people do. Adapt it to your own things, right? Like the same way, like what I've learned so far, I adapted it to creating Selenium grids, right? Starting up the rock, paper, scissors challenge that my good friend in the chat right now, Don, he created the rock, paper, scissors challenge. And I used that to start it up on which is actually like, if this goes through, that's what's going to actually be started up. But what the point I'm making is using it for your own stuff. And now I'm going to use a Terraform to actually not go through EC2, but go through Fargate. And that will definitely be a live stream when I work on Fargate. But yeah, so let me know, Wasted Man, whatever it is that you need, let me know, and I will make sure to make that available to you somehow in some capacity. Whether the GitHub is going to work for you or it's some other type of notes, let me know, and I'll help you out the best way that I can, because I am interested in your growth and knowledge in these topics, because that is what's going to make you a superstar in whatever industry that you're in. All right. Let me read. Thank you. Let me read what Don said real quick. So my question that I asked Don about, would they be able to help me? Like someone who just passed their solutions architect, right? Whatever those like the certs are. And don't get me wrong, I think the certs are important, right? But I think more important than the certs is that you need to get your hands dirty, right? It's like a mechanic who went to mechanic school, but they never actually worked on a car, right? Like, come on, right? For real. So most would tell you about the left side. They're sort of locked into it. Yeah, I mean, that's fair because guess what? I was like, there's so many different things in AWS that I don't even know about, right? And that's the route that I was going. And then I'm like, but as soon as you said Fargate, I'm like, let's look. Well, I was like giving you a hard time because I thought you was like using text to speech, but it was on me because this actually is something, right? So, and then when I see it, I'm like, oh, well, I know exactly what we're trying to do. And why would I do, like, this is 4 steps here, right? And I already have the container image built. So I just need to go into here to do this part. But I was on this step right here, right? And it's a mess, right? So shout out to you, Don. Shout out to you. And Donald said they may find out about Fargate and select a few new services to test if it works for them. There is ROI in it, and a redesign is required to port all their systems to Fargate. Interesting enough. All right. Don said it also depends if their projects already have Docker image for each of their services. It is really easy to make the move. Exactly. That's the point I'm thinking about, right? Because if your things are Dockerized, right? If your project is Dockerized, then you can just say, all right, let me the containers are the image is already built, right? So now we just need to do all that other stuff and say this is the container that I want to run with these configurations. Pass in this key, run it on this port, who knows, right? And then, you're good to go. So that's awesome. And adapt it to Poopy Pants. I'm going to, trust me, I'm going to. I plan on releasing a very early version soon. So that's going to happen. And Wasted Madden said, thank you for your response, sir. It is my pleasure, right? And you know what? Feel free to email me at ralph@techcoachingwithralph.com. And, if you have any additional questions or resources, let me know. And then we can have a conversation about that. All right. And we'll keep going. Fargate is a response to the pain point AWS is providing a solution to. And that's one of the things I like about AWS, right? And that's why I'm also fascinated by the Amazon Q generative AI chatbot for businesses, because like they're always like finding solutions, pushing forward, right? I can't wait to get it working so we can start demoing the different things that it can do, because I want to connect it to our GitHub and see how it can like look through the code and give us some suggestions. I want to give it through connected to Slack to look for like some conversations and stuff, some details. Like I'm like, because a lot of times in Slack, you lose links, you lose like even in Teams or whatever chat system, right? Or let's say you're using Confluence, right? It's so complicated to find stuff in there, and it's so complicated to find stuff. So I think if we have the right tools, then it'll make our efficiency so much more better. Like using these tools, right? It's like having a personal assistant, right? Which like that's what like the assistant in AI does, right? But having a personal assistant, but imagine having an assistant developer, right? That just makes your productivity, like I'm not afraid of AI, right? I'm not afraid of AI at all. It makes your productivity go even more, right? Because some people are like, oh, and this is the mindset to me of the mindset, like when you're afraid of technology, of like not looking to go forward, right? When I see these things, right, I'm like, oh, we can produce more. But people are seeing it as, oh, we're not gonna have anything to do if we just keep doing exactly what we're doing. But I see it as, oh, for instance, teaching my wife is learning how to do video editing, right? So in one sense you could say, oh, that's gonna relieve some work, like some video editing work that you have to do, right? And you have some more time. But for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I have more time to create more, to do more like code, more projects, more videos, more ideas, more shows, so many different things, right? So when I see, like, when I'm able to create time, it's just to be able to push forward. And that's what I see AI does, right? Because we could be writing like some stuff that doesn't really mean much and it's like taking us a whole bunch of time. but we use AI to help us with everything that we need so that we can do more. My goal is to always do more, pushing forward, right? So anyways, let me know what you think about that, all right? And we have a new person in the chat. Oh my goodness. Sharon Hammonds says, hi, I'm new to your channel and I'm currently studying to be a QA. Any suggestions on how to build a portfolio because I don't have any experience? Well, I do. I have a video where I talked about in a few videos of how to build a portfolio. And one of the tricks that I use to do that is I use Docker, which it might be a little bit of a learning curve, but it's actually really, really easy to get started, right? Like all the people that I coach, that I have them like start off with Docker, like when they're very nervous about it at first, but then I just walk them through it real quick, and then they're like, okay, cool, and they can start different applications, right? But what I did was I started a test case management tool called through Docker, like it already exists, open source, right? I started it called Kiwi Test Case Management System, right? So I started it up, and then I can log in, I configure it, I log in, and I use that to document test cases, to document bugs, to document test executions and stuff like that, right? And then in there, I can show I can talk about some using Docker, because the key is when you are look at that, when you are interviewing and with your resume and stuff, you're selling yourself, right? You are selling yourself. You said, these are my skills. This is why I am valuable to your organization. This is why you want to hire me above everyone else that you're interviewing, right? That's the goal. That's the key, right? So what I use the portfolio for, because if you put a link to it in your resume, the recruiters aren't really going to click that, right? Should they? Probably, but at the same time, recruiters don't even know the code like that, because nowadays it's not the hiring managers that are reaching out. It is the recruiters who make the initial contact. They see if you would be a good fit, and then they send it to the hiring manager. But here's a secret, right? Here's a secret. A lot of hiring managers might not be that good in the code either, right? Because especially in QA, if they're from the old days, like they might be hiring the QAs and the automations and stuff like that, but they might not be that good in the code. So the important part is, so once your resume is right, once you're at, by the way, I'm just going to let you guys know, I registered the domain name crappyresumes.io. Something is coming very, very soon to that, which is going to help you immensely, but me and Don are keeping that under wraps until we can get something out to you, right? But going back to this, right? So when you have the so I use the Kiwi test case management system, right? And that way I'm able to document, like, I just go to random websites, right? Like by random, I mean like popular websites. I think I did with Abercrombie. When we were doing Cypress, I did it with Lego. Any site, like whatever site you like, make it interesting to you, right? And then you go onto that site and then you start to test it. And so you write different test cases. Like, so you can say, let's say you like Amazon. We've done Amazon before, right? Or we've done Uber Eats as well. And we'll say, okay, what are the most important flows on the site? And I'm going to write test cases for those flows, right? So I'm saying, okay, go to the homepage, and then how am I going to, I'm going to focus on the checkouts. I'm going to focus on logging in, all of that, right? So that is how you're going to, and you're going to write those test cases to build your portfolio to show how you write test cases. And most likely you're not going to find any bugs on those major sites, but write your bug report, your defect report as if you did find one, so that you could show them, like, this is how I write bugs. This is my documentation. I give the steps, the expected results, the actual results, the environment that's happening in the browsers that I saw it in, whatever details, however you write it, that's practice. So 1, that's building your portfolio. 2, that's making you better in the actual job, right? So there's that. And then if you're learning automation, which I highly recommend that you do, Sharon, right? Highly recommend that you learn automation, but you automate that and you show them, like, okay, these are my automated tests. This is my code in my GitHub of my automated tests, right? And I think that is where it puts you on a very good route to build your portfolio and to be able to have a very nice and strong resume, as well give you talking points for the interview. And if you want to put the cherry on top, I shouldn't be telling this to everyone, but because you are from the, my second favorite best content creator, because I'm my first. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Right? The Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to the Millionaire Morning Show. Right? Love that. I love that show. I watch it every single day. Right? But here's the trick, right? To be even in a better position, you want to work and I've suggested this to people, they don't really want to do it, but that's on them, right? But if you want to be ahead of the game, work in a real environment. So you would go to Jira, because that 99% of the time, that's what you're going to be using in a work environment, and track your work through a Jira board, use sprints, use stuff like that, right? It's many things, but once you do that, you show that you have the initiative and that you're ready to start working day one, right? You're gonna have to pick up on like the actual technology that they're working on, but you put yourself, you show the initiative, which is so far ahead of everyone else, because everyone else, trust me, they're just going to their class or their boot camp, and then they're just like, oh, hold my hand and carry me here. But when you do all of that up front, it shows whoever's the team that you're going to be working with, is showing the hiring manager, shows whoever talks to you that this person is on point, this person is serious about what they want to do, and it would be more than a pleasure to work with this person, right? So that is so it was kind of long, right? But I think when you work on these type of portfolio type things, you got to take your time, and you need to make it very nice and very easy to explain, and show that you're actually putting in the work. All right. All right. So yeah. Yep. Millionaire Morning Show. Love it. You guys go check out the Millionaire Morning Show with Anton Daniels. All right. So Wasted Man says, can you please conduct a live stream about networking tomorrow, beginner level? We need, sir, 7 students in my friend. It will be really helpful for us in DevOps. So we can probably get to that. What type of networking are you referring to? Let me know. And I can see what I can do about that. Because I mean, I'm willing to explore everything. So just let me know because I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to when you say networking. So let me know, and we'll get to that. All right. And Don said, bot task do X. When it's done, it can commit to the repo and tag you for review. That's awesome. And Sharon said, it's manual. The course only touches on automation. All right. So reach out to me. And so definitely reach out to me. And we can talk about that. But I would say, because being that you're new here, in previous streams during the breaks, I would go and I'll do that again in the future, but I would go and look up LinkedIn, and because I wanted to make an emphasis on the fact that it is so hard to find manual QA jobs nowadays, right? Because so many people are going to they're the boot camps. There's so many boot camps, and there's so many students in those boot camps that now even with when you see manual, then they're like, oh, you need to have 5 years of experience, and they consider that as entry level, right? Crazy. But I would say whatever, you need to do the manual to get the fundamentals, right? You need to get the manual to get the fundamentals, but don't waste any time. Get into some type of language and start. I would recommend Python. It's probably especially if you're new to the field. I'm not sure what your background is, but if you're new to the field, then you will. If you're new to the field, then it might be a learning curve. But if you follow along, there's so many people who've been following along, and they're like, okay, this didn't make any sense to me at the beginning, but I'm starting to understand it, and I can recommend you some courses that you can get started, and just go from there, and we can figure that out, right? So definitely so many options, right? And if you are in the Bag Chasers Discord, you can hit me up on that. It's Tech Coach Ralph, and hit me up and we can talk, and I can help you out with that. All right. So awesome. And Wasted Madam says, because your explanation is like clean water. That's why I'm asking you. All right. No, shout out from India. Shout out to you in India. Yeah, if you send me an email or something just so you can let me know what exactly like you would like me to look into on networking, because networking is kind of broad. So just let me know, and then we can work on that. All right. And lastly, before we get back to testing out why this failed again, which we got a different error, so that's really good. Sharon says, yes, I am new to the field and I'm looking to learn Python and Selenium. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'll tell you this, right? Don is here as well in the chat. Like we've been talking, and he has been he's been in QA and in technology for, I think you said since 1998, Don. Like so I have like so many different resources. We have like I have cybersecurity resources. I have like so many different people, right? So tap in and we will figure it out. And coming from a law enforcement background, thank you for your service, Sharon. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here, right? So because of that, I am going to say
I appreciate you.
I sure do. All right. So but yeah, follow along as much as you can, and anytime you have a question, right? If I'm live or whatever, anytime you have a question, let me know and I will answer whatever it is that you need, and we'll go from there, right? So let's that was a long break, but it was well worth it because I had some great interactions with you guys. But let's continue, and whatever else comes in, we will talk about it. So let's go to here, and we're gonna.
It's time to do.
And it is my pleasure. All right, anything you need. All right. Okay, so we have a different error this time, right? So invalid gateway. So we're making progress. It still had the same error, but this time we got to the route table. So let's do this. We're going to pull up. We are going to go here, and we are going to go to VPCs. We should have our new one created, and we're going to go to this one. So we have two routing tables. So that is not what we wanted to happen, right? We don't want a second routing table. And this one has no subnets associated with it, but this one is the one that's created by default. So, all right, I think I have an idea then, all right? I think I have an idea. So, because there was an option for the default one, right? So, we're gonna do a destroy real quick. But I mean, this is part of the process, right? Like, and like, Sharon, like, I hope while you're following along, because one of the things that like the reason, like one of the most important reasons that I started this channel, right? Along as like with helping people like transition into the technical field and all that type of stuff. But one of the things that I like to combat is a lot of times in these courses and these boot camps and all this stuff, right? They show you everything working perfectly. But if you see like the reason that my streams can go for so long is I mean, I can talk a lot sometimes, right? But that's not the reason, right? It's because we always come into different challenges and difficulties, right? And that's what I want people to see is the things that you actually encounter as in tech, right? Whether you're a QA person, whether you're a developer. I was not expecting that for the first 20 to 30 minutes of the show that I was going to have to be fixing some credentials type stuff, right? But here we are. But this is part of the journey. This is part of the fun. And if like, not this is in general, like if people get frustrated by things not working, then number one, QA is definitely not for you. But then tech in general, like developers and development and QA, whatever it is, like we are built to solve problems, right? So, I don't think you'd have any problem with that coming from a law enforcement background, because that's what you do every day. You solve problems every single day, right? And I see the conversation happening with you, with Don and Jared in the chat, and this is why I love doing this, right? Because, like I said, Don is like one of the best people that I've met. If starting YouTube, me going on YouTube was only to like meet Don, then it was well worth it already, right? But so many other amazing people that I've met, probably I know what he's probably doing right now, but
good guy.
He's another amazing person, right? So like it's awesome. All right. So let's see here, right? Because I try to create this internet gateway, but I tried to create this routing table, right? But I'm thinking that that might not actually be necessary. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do a Terraform destroy to shut down. By the way, like, remember when I was talking about that loud car in the neighborhood? Maybe I'm getting old because that used to be me like 20 years ago. I had the loud car that was annoying in the neighborhood. I had like 2 or 3 of those. So maybe it's maybe I'm just becoming that guy. I don't know. Get off my lawn. But my lawn looks like crap, so that wouldn't be me by the lawn part. So let's destroy that. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna probably end up deleting this one, but we're gonna just tag this up right here, right? We're gonna say resource. So in Terraform, we call it a resource, and we're gonna do let's search for route table. So AWS default route table. Let's see if that one is going to, oh shoot. Let's call that the same name as this one. So let's see if this one is going to, all right, let's say VPC. Okay, so we don't have to put the VPC because it's going to automatically, it's a default routing table for the VPC. So I don't think we need to put the VPC in there, right? But let's do route and let's do IPv4. I'm not even too familiar with the IPv6 thingy, but just so we can see if it's gonna work. So let's say we do egress, and let's say we do AWS Internet Gateway, ID. So let's do a tag. And to be honest with you, the helper in AWS is not in Terraform. It's really good. All right, so let's give it the same name. It's really good. So, and then we're gonna just delete this because the reason, and this is all about troubleshooting, right? The reason that this is so important is based on the error that we got. We're like, oh. And based on the error, I'm being able to see here that it created a second one, right? So this one is created by default. See, let me see if I click on this one. So default VPC. Oh, wait a second. What makes this one default? Oh, there's no subnet association with it. That's why. So the subnet creates its own, I guess. All right, I don't know. Let's find out, right? We are going to kick it up a bit again. So let's get rid of this one, the one that it created. So if we go, all right, so let me see. Not too much. So let's go back over here. We're gonna get rid of the one that was created. Like this is the one that we added last time. So that it's going to, so what I believe is gonna happen in the default route table that's gonna get created, it is going to, it's going to do this, right? Because last time it did, what was our error last time? Last time our error was invalid internet gateway so this is probably wrong too then. But this was going to be wrong anyways, but it's okay. So it's expecting, okay, so we need, oh my goodness. How do you get so this is where we're having a problem right here, right? Because I don't see, which we might have to go back to our Google internet. Let's see. Is it just gateway ID? It can't just be gateway ID. Let's see. I guess. Let me see. Let's do a quick Google search, right? Because I don't want to like waste all this time searching for let's see what that is. Let's see here. Gateway ID. Note on gateway ID, and the AWS API is very forgiving with these two attributes. And the AWS route table resource can be created with a NAT ID specified as a gateway ID. It will lead to a permanent diff between your configuration and state file, as in the API return. So what is the gateway ID then? So it is internet gateway. Okay, so it's gateway ID. What, like, maybe it's just me, right? But maybe it's my QA self, right? And maybe it's because the way that I like to write these long method names so I can know exactly what I'm looking at. If this is called AWS Internet Gateway, right? Why do you just call it Gateway ID? Why don't you just call it Internet Gateway ID, right? I don't know. Whatever. Something must be coming up because that was my calendar. But anyways, that's annoying. That's annoying. All right, so let's go. But we're gonna add it to the default one. We're not going to do it to the. I need this. Let me see if I even need that IPv4 block thingy. Do they have it on theirs? Looking over here. Yeah, they do. So, I mean, I guess I could. No, they don't have it on theirs. Actually, oh, wait, hold on. Let's click on this. Let's see. I don't know, but I think we're good. We are good to run. All right, so let's close some of these out. All right, so we're going to go over here. And we are going to do another Terraform apply. See what that comes up with. Default route table ID. So let's just give one of these real quick. But this is how we learn. I mean, I have fun with the sounds and everything, but like whenever I see an error, I don't get frustrated. I mean, I got a little frustrated with the credentials error, but I don't get frustrated. I don't get upset. I'm like, all right, this is another learning opportunity. So the AWS the argument default route table ID is required. Let's see. VPC dot. Okay. Maybe it's like that. Well, I don't know. That I don't know. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Let's see. And I'll take a look at the chat afterwards. Terraform apply. And we're going to say yes. All right. While that's happening, let's take a look at the chat. So Don had said, I come from I didn't know you came from a law enforcement background, Don. Don comes from a lot of skills translate into QA, especially if the product you're working on is in the legal sector or has heavy legal compliance involved. That's a good point. That's a good point. And Sharon said, thanks. I was wondering how my skills would transfer. Yep. Like people, I'll say this, right? There are so many ways that skills can transfer from outside of tech into tech, whether it's QA, whether it's software development, because I'll say in a lot of things that you're doing, right, in life, you're trying to solve for a problem, right? And although you might not have the technical background to create, like, to write some code up and stuff like that, but you can develop the mindset, and then as you start learning the code, you get better, you build upon it, you build upon it, and now you can start doing some really cool stuff. So yeah, I do see there, like, I see a lot of times in people, there's a lot of transferable skills, which is one of the things that bothered me about some of the boot camps, when they create the resume for you and they leave all of your past experiences out of it, and it's just like, it just give you, like, they just put, oh, you did this boot camp for like 2 weeks, and you did not this boot camp, you did this little internship of ours for 2 weeks, and you did this internship with us for like a month, and they try to make that as all of your experience that you're supposed to go out there and get a job with, and then you are sitting there applying for countless amount of jobs. You're getting upset because you cannot find anything, and then you're like,
I'm in a bind, Nate.
that is the last thing that I want to hear from you. All right. So let's go out there and win together. All right. So Wasted Madman said, thank you for your explanation. Are really awesome. I'm waiting for your networking class. Good night. My battery drained to 4%. I'll check out the video in the morning. Thank you. Love from India. Shout out to India. They have a very large group of QA testers in India, but I think that if they come, and you know what, Wasted Madden, tell your QA associates to and everyone that you know over there to go and sign up for the channel, because I am more than willing to answer questions and do live streams just for you guys, so that I can add more value to you, because I do see, like, sometimes there are some gaps in the approach to testing and quality. Sometimes it's a bit robotic, and I would want to, I just want to help everybody, right? So think about that, and we can go from there. All right. Let me change the size of this a little bit. That's annoying. There we go. There we go. But you have a wonderful night. It was great talking to you, and and let me know about that networking stuff, and we can figure something out with that. All right. And Don said, you could use that background, focus your search to legal software products. There are many out there, even companies like e-discovery, legal review platforms. And I'll tell you this, right? I have, like, a lot of people who might be transitioning from, like, nursing or the healthcare sector, and they're like, oh, but I don't have, like, any experience and stuff like that. And what I just told you about the boot camps, they go through the same thing, right? With like, they just leave out all of their background, right? But from my opinion, nurses are some of the greatest QA people, because they're helping save lives, and they have to diagnose the problem, and they need to be very meticulous with their documentation, and to make sure they're giving the right dosage and their calculations and all that, right? So what I always tell them is, like, you don't just go apply for random jobs. Use your background, right? So apply for jobs that are in the healthcare industry, where, like, you can understand the terminology and you can start answering and contributing right on the spot, right? So that's like that's a great point that you made, Don, about focusing on legal software products to apply, and with that, you might even be able to have a better chance of getting in as a manual tester. But I would say emphasize that you are learning automation and that you are ramping up on automation, because, like, companies want people who can do more, right? And who can add value, reduce overhead and stuff like that. All right. So let's take a look at the console, and I'll continue with the chat in a little bit. So let's see what we got going on, because I don't know, it's like, it's still timing out, but my main goal, though, is to see if we can get I want to see if it's gonna. Oh, it made the connection. It made the connection. That's what I wanted to see, right? So we're still like it's still So what I'll do is I'll check the other one to make sure that it looks like this. But this is what I wanted to do. So we got that right, but we're still getting this little error. So we'll figure that out, right? But this is what I really wanted to see, and we got the VPC set up as we would want to. Let me go, or I think I do. Let me take a look at this one real quick, right? I think it's the same. We have this, and yep, this is exactly how we wanted it to be. So we are still getting this error here.
Another one.
Oh, I always do that. That is for Tuesday night, right? Oh, and Sharon, Tuesday nights I have a Q&A where I answer. There are mostly QA questions that I find on on the internet and stuff like that, but I also answer questions in the chat, and I have the call-in link open for if anybody wants to call in to have a discussion, ask any questions. You don't have to be on camera, whatever it is. But I just make myself available to answer anybody's questions, as well as answering questions that people might have, but that they don't even know yet, right? So definitely, if you want to tune in for that on Tuesday nights at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time, definitely look for that. But just trying to make sure that the right information gets out there.
Lunch break! Lunch break!
Cool. So what time is it now? 4:42. I think that let's go to break, and then we can go to one more, and then we can wrap it up for today. But this is what you're seeing here is exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted to be able to properly set up the virtual private network. So now we have a good blueprint on how to do it, right? Which we'll see when we come back, right? So let's go to full screen. But we'll see that when we come back, like the blueprint, and then I'm gonna definitely put this stuff. I'm gonna put this stuff on whatchamacallit, on GitHub without my credentials, of course. And so then the only thing left is to get the EC2 instance to be able to connect, which we'll get to that afterwards. But let's go ahead. So what we're gonna do first, let's just tear down the. Actually, I'll leave it. All right. So let's look at the chat real quick. So let's put our 5 minutes up, and this is gonna be our last 5-minute break before we wrap it up for today, because we've been going for almost 2.5 hours, right? So putting in that work in. Let's see. So Don also said. So here is some advice. The command presents we needed on the street can't be used in an office. They're not used to that intensity. Yep, I see what you're saying. And it says, okay, I was in the New York State, I'm guessing. New York State court system, which is just like being in the streets, especially in New York City. Awesome. This is a great conversation, Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would love to talk to you and find out, find out more about you and see, make sure that you are on the right direction. But and maybe I don't know, because Don, he gets busy sometimes, but maybe he can even call in too, and we can. Oh my goodness, what was that? Maybe you can call in too. We can have the conversation together to find out what. We can just have a conversation, help each other out, especially if Don being in the law enforcement background and you're in the law enforcement background, so that would be a great connection as well. So whatever it is that we can do to help, we can do that. And feel free to reach out to me, and we can continue the conversation that way. But yeah, stay tuned. And there's so many opportunities. Like there are I'll tell you this real quick, right? There's so many different opportunities for QA. As you continue to grow, right? Because like when you first get started, you're probably going to be testing some type of website application and stuff like that. But I've found myself in different domains for QA, right? So right now, working in like video, like testing video encoding, kind of like what you see happen, what you see happens on YouTube and maybe Vimeo to a certain extent, but like sites that stream that like where they have like the videos and stuff like that. I'm working in that domain, so I have a good understanding of how all that works, of how like the different qualities and how the encoding, right? Didn't see myself landing in that position, but here I am, right? And then before that, I was working in the pharmaceutical industry, validating configurations and ensuring compliance of our softwares, that they're compliant. Like I forgot the name, but I know FDA was one of the compliances, but there's some other ones, right? And then before that, working in like the mobile communications, doing QA for like business to customer applications and stuff like that, right? Then before that, working for a website. Like, I mean, to make it simple, it's like they had a technology that could translate websites with real people, but you don't really need to have a second website. It just overlays the translation via proxy onto that the existing website, right? So all that to say, there's so many different. And then now Don is talking about working in software for law enforcement, right? When I was looking for a different position earlier this year, one of the companies that really stood out to me was this company that like they built software for better managing clinical trials, where you don't need to have like a bunch of paper trails, right? It's a software that manages all of that, which I found that was very cool. So and I think like that right there would be a good, like if you're in QA, right? And like you want to get into QA, but you have a strong background in like healthcare, I think that would be a good opportunity for you to get more familiar. Like they can leverage your existing experience to better provide insight into the application that they're building, and you can have a strong contribution to that. So what I try to coach the people that I work with is that it's so much more than knowing the basics of like, oh, how do I do QA, or how do I build a software, or how do I do data engineering? Is how, and that goes back to what I started off talking about, improving your communication skills at the beginning of the show, right? It goes back to it's like, how do you communicate? How do you provide additional insight? How do you see things from different perspectives? How do you assess what are the risks, all that type of stuff, right? So it's so many different things that come into
Get a
play.
move on, back to work, chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
We are going to fight one day, all right? But what I'm saying is that there's so many different factors in that, like as you, and me, like like I said, we're gonna have that call. Like I'm gonna join the show tomorrow morning where we're talking about resumes versus networking, right? And my strategy, right? And this is the strategy that I employ to I implore to the ones that I'm coaching. I'm like, it's not just one thing. You don't have one point of attack, right? You're attacking from this angle, you're attacking from that angle, all that type of stuff, right? So that you're closing in on. I'm not going to say that the enemy, because like the job they're trying to get is not your enemy, but you're swarming in on different fronts of attack, so that whatever that right opportunity is for you, you're going to be in a perfect landing spot, because you're using your resume, you're using your portfolio. You're using the way that you find mentors, which tomorrow at noon, I'm gonna have the kind of conversations video come out talking about the importance of a mentor and how to find the right mentor, right? So it's just like just swarming in onto what you really want, and that's what my goal for the people that I'm coaching is, like how to properly attack the things that you want to achieve, right? It's not only on one front, it's many different fronts that you need to just swarm it, and you just attack it at different angles, and that's how you're going to be more successful. All right. So we are at 4:50. Oh, do I want to go for one more? Yeah, you know what? I do want to go for one more because I got this goal, but and I'll even play the goal song, right? And I was showing this to one of my friends, and he didn't know that. He told me that this is that sound from Final Fantasy. Some video game, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but what I want to do is I want to just figure out what this is. You know what? So I'm gonna spend 10 minutes on it, right? Because I do want to wrap it up. I don't want to spend too much more time on here, but I'm gonna put 10 minutes on the countdown so we can wrap this up for today. But I want to figure out what's going on with this error message. All right. So let's go to this screen. So everything worked as I wanted it to work, right? And but except for this part where it's trying to connect to, all right, so let's look at what we have, right? So we have this is the right setup that we want, right? And now if we go and we look at our, let me duplicate this. And Sharon, I'll say this as well, right? Because a lot of times when people just like, especially on these Sunday streams, this is really this Terraform stuff is pretty deep, right? But here's what I tell people, because I remember one time I told somebody, oh, I want you to try something in Docker, and they said, oh, that's way over my head. And I said, like, there's nothing that's over your head, right? You might not understand it at the moment, but if you stick around and you listen and you listen and you listen and you're doing stuff on your own, you're going to start seeing the connections between like the early on stuff that you're doing and the things that you're hearing about that is like in your future. Because trust me, this might be your beginning stages, but this is in your future. And why is it in your future? Because you want to be the best, right? And you want to be able to, while the other people, like, they're just focused on this one thing and they're not moving forward, they're focused on the things that everybody else can do. I want you to be focused on, I want you to master what everybody else can do, but I also want you to have a strong focus on what other people can't do or are not willing to do, especially in QA, right? One thing that I do at my job, I'm always volunteering to do other stuff so I can learn more, right? So the other day we were working on like doing these queries, and I said, oh, I want to see how to do it, and then I saw how they were doing it, and then I'm like, okay, and they said, does it make sense to you? I'm like, not 100%, but I'm going to try it out next week to get more familiar, to get some results. So you're always pushing yourself, and not only that, you also put a good impression on the people that you work with, which is very important because you need them to trust you and you need to provide valuable insight, So we have our container, or we have our EC2 instance running. So it should be the same stuff as, let's see, instance over here. So let's see. So this looks good. We have our instance. The only problem that we're having is, so down here. So let's see. We have the VPC. Let's make sure it's in the, oh, wait a second. Oh, wait a second. Maybe it's not in the, is it not in the VPC? So let's take a look at the instance, right? So let's go over here. Let's take a look at the instance and VPC. Oh, it is in the VPC. So that's good. That's good. So the question is then, is it, so here's what we're going to do, right? We are going to take this right here. Oh, wait, do we need a public IP? I don't. So that's the private IP. I don't think Terraform could access it through the private IP. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Terraform can access it through the public IP. So Let's see. Associate public IP address. Let me see. Let's think about this, because if it can't see this, right? I'm gonna do some research on that, right? But if it can't see it, let me see. Let's see. Can Terraform, and as you see as well, right? There's a lot of Googling that we do here, right? A lot of Googling that we do here. Can Terraform, and that's the reason that I like to do it like this, because you see that there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, right? But I find out and then I use it, and then I have to go. Sometimes I Google the same thing within a year, like 6 times, right? Because I don't use it on a regular basis, but I need it at that particular time. I know what to search for. So with experience, you also become a very, very good Googler, right? So can Terraform file provisioner error? Let's see. Let's do Terraform file provisioner error timeout with private IP. That's what I want to see. Oh my goodness. All right. Terraform file provisioner. Yeah, I'm getting something like that. All right. So final solution to my problem. I had to define security group in my Terraform main file. But are you using a public IP or not? I don't think so. Well, that's interesting. They just did a thing to their credentials file, and they don't even need to put their credentials. That's That's making me wonder. I might have to go this route instead of having the var file with the credentials. Good think about that. All right. I have to define a security group in my Terraform main file. So I have that commented out as a security group, but also, as you can see, you need to do a replacement. See, but that's not a public IP though. Connection. Let's see here. See, but there's no public IP that's provisioned, and you can't connect to the EC2 instance that way. So if we look at the security group here, all right, so I think this is what we need, right? So I am going to share the screen and type it in, and although time is about to run out, let's finish this up. We'll try it one more run to see what happens, right? So what I'm going to do, I am going to tear down Terraform again. We'll try this one last thing, and if that doesn't work, then we are going to take our talents to dinner. Hey Don, if you're still in the chat, right? With law enforcement background and QA, would you see any areas in like QA cybersecurity for a law enforcement background? All right, so let's start with this resource. I had it somewhere in here, right? So VPC, security group in here. So
Lunch break! Lunch break!
So let's finish this up real quick. All right. So resource AWS security group name. We gave it a name. Say give it a description as they have, and that says allow SSH inbound traffic. And we have VPC ID, AWS VPC. Okay. And we have ingress from port 22, protocol TCP to port 22, CIDR blocks. All right. And then we have, I guess we'll add the egress one. I got to find out what egress really stands for. But 0, 0. And the script is putting it on. The script is putting it on port 8080. So let's do that. Security group. Ingress. So ingress is the incoming ports and the egress is the outgoing ports. That's what I just figured out in my head right now. Port 8080. Protocol. TCP. To port 8080 and CIDR block 0.0.0.0/0. All right. And I figured that would be like your IP address if you wanted to restrict access, right? But let's see here. We have that, and then we have our egress. I'm just looking on the other screen real quick. So we have all of that. And now let's look at this real quick. We have so we have our VPCs set up, or VPC security group and AWS security group. I know I have it that way. Oh, the ID of it. I gotcha. But I could, okay. So this is probably old, but we don't have to do it that way. So what we're going to do here then, we're going to go here and we're going to go to instance and we're going to do, so let's just delete this whole thing, right? And we're going to do VPC security group IDs and we're going to say, AWS security group dot from United States dot ID. Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. Let's find out, right? Let's find out. Let's do one last run before we get out of here. But we are making so much progress, right? So keep that in mind. But the only thing is, the only thing is, I don't see where it says, oh, let's do this as well. Did I do that? Egress 0, 0. Protocol is -1. And CIDR blocks is 0 or 0.0.0.0/0. All right. So the only thing that I don't see is what makes it have a public IP. And if that doesn't work, then it might be the public IP stuff, but I don't want, no, the purpose of the VPC is for it not to go across the public IPs, right? I don't know, but let's find out. Let's do Terraform apply. That'll be our last Terraform apply for the night. And then we are getting out of here. And yes, but we made great progress, I must say. We figured out how to configure these VPCs with the routing tables and everything like that. The only thing that we face a little bit of uncertainty about is the EC2 instance. But we are going to think, and shout out to Don again for letting us know about Fargate. I will probably do a presentation on that as well as a live stream where we're going to be using Fargate because the other day on Thanksgiving I did a live stream about how to Dockerize an application, right? I didn't show how to push it up to what do you call it, to the Amazon ECR. But it doesn't matter because we can still push it up to the ECR, and we can do a live stream where we show both, right? We can. So we're gonna have a live stream where we totally explore Fargate. Then after we explore Fargate, we're going to explore doing it through EC2, maybe with Terraform, and doing it with Fargate. And I'm gonna see if they have Fargate with Terraform as well. So we'll do it. We have a couple of topics coming up, and those will probably be on Thursday nights. We're gonna explore, using Fargate, using Docker, using a variety of stuff, right? So we shall see. Let's let this run. But it's not looking promising because it looks like it's getting stuck, but we don't know. We don't know. But we'll see. We shall see. But while it's doing that, let me come to full screen. And while it's doing that, I want to say thank you for everyone who tuned in, from Wasted Madden to Sharon, to Sharon, to Don, and everybody else, right? I really, really appreciate you guys for being here. And we are going to wrap it up soon. I just want to see what happens with this last Terraform reply, right? Because although it's like we're at the same spot that we ended last time, but with the caveat of we figured out how to set up the VPC properly, right? How everything connected, because they didn't talk about the routing tables and all that type of stuff, right? We figured that out. Very important. And I think that the other thing is this, which it's not going to work, I can see, right? But we'll figure that out. We'll continue to do some research. But it looks like, and it's a jiu-jitsu concept, right? Because you can see two people fighting, sparring, training, whatever, and they might be in the same exact spot for 5-10 minutes, right? But I just want you to be aware of that, and that even when you think you're stuck, you're still moving forward, right? Get the timer off. Even when you think you're stuck, you're still moving forward. And I want you to always remember that we are always moving forward in everything that we do. All right. The thing's gonna time out, so there is no need to wait around for that. So with that being said, I appreciate you all for being here. If you have not done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. Like the video, share the video, all of that good, amazing stuff. And if you haven't done so yet, check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph. Jesus, I can't even say my own name nowadays. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev and see what we're doing in there. And, hit me up, let me know what you need, and we will make sure we get everything moving in the right directions. Anything else? Yes, tomorrow morning, like I said, we have coffee and kata, but we are starting 1 hour earlier so that we can jump onto the stream at Tech Niche Tips channel, where I am going to be talking about the importance of resumes, and we're going to have a discussion about which is more important, resumes or networking. And we'll have a great conversation. We'll talk about it. Cool people over there. Joseph over there is amazing, and Trey over there as well. Very cool people. They had a very cool interview with Zoya. I can't say her last name, but from uncap.io. So just meeting new people, and just growing. So that's the plan for tomorrow morning. And then remember the bug bite. Not the bug bite. Candid Conversations coming out tomorrow at noon, where Eastern time, where I'm going to talk about the importance of you getting the right mentor, not just any mentor that somebody throws at you. Getting the right mentor, strategies of acquiring that mentor that is going to propel you to the next direction. But before we wrap up, you know how we like to do it here, right? I have one out of all this conversation, right? Yep, it failed again, but it's all good. We'll figure that out. But out of all this conversation, I have one question for you. One question for you. And that question is,
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I had a great time. I was very entertained and, hanging out with you guys on a Sunday afternoon, being super, super productive. That is what it's all about. But with that being said, it is time for me to go. I really, really appreciate you all for being here. But I will see you guys early in the morning. Check me out. Coffee and Kata, 6:15 tomorrow. Don't miss it.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts. Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need
Sorry, I was muted because I was about to leave. But I came back because I don't come back, but I came back because this is very, very important. I wanted to read this and say, funny you mentioned cybersecurity. I'm taking the exam on December 19th at Pearson VUE for my cybersecurity certification through ISC2. They have a million people challenge going on for free, 180 days. So I wanted to say congratulations. And I started saying I wish you the best of luck, but you do not need luck. I wish you the best all around because just be prepared, study, do everything that you have to do, but we are here to support you. We are rooting for you and we are anxious to hear how it goes and we will see you on the other side. But we're going to talk on Tuesday and we're going to see you throughout by the way, funny you mentioned cybersecurity as well, because on December 12th, Nico Socks, he is in cybersecurity. We are doing our cybersecurity Q&A night where we answer different questions about cybersecurity, interact with the chat. That is December 12th at 8 p.m. Right? So I already have it scheduled, so you can click the notify button on it says 7:15 because I started at 7:15, but Socks is going to be joining us at 8 p.m. and so hit the notify button so you can be aware of when it's starting. And you can ask Socks any questions because that's like 1 week before your exam. So I think that'll be a great opportunity to, if you have any additional questions, ask him anything that you want to ask, right? So that'll be, what is the chance for tomorrow morning? What's the question? What's the chance for tomorrow morning? But yeah, so definitely tune in on December 12th, right? 8 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, the channel. I'll put it in let me put it in the chat, right? Let me pull it up. So I don't know if you'll be up at that early for my channel at 6:15 a.m. Eastern time, but I'm going to be jumping on to, let me get it for you. I should have put it in the chat earlier. Thanks for asking that because I should have put it in the chat earlier. Let me pull it up. Let me see. This is the channel right here. Perfect. Yeah, tune in from your phone or anything, right? I'm going to just drop the link in the chat right here. It's called Tech Niche Tips. And tune in and, write me in the chat and then subscribe to their channel as well. And you'll see me over there talking to Joseph and Trey about resumes and networking. And we're going to have a great conversation. We're all friends. So perfect. And just to finish up on the cybersecurity thing, right? Yeah. So join us on December 12th, and that way you can talk to Socks, and ask questions, whatever it is, and we're just gonna have a great time. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna do this one more time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, share, like, notification, all that good stuff. Check out the Patreon, www.techcoachralph.dev. And on that note,
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bowed before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination. These are the very essence of our people. The spirit of our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles call us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, a charted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.